I'm delighted to be joined on Panthers TV by our latest signing, Kristoff Kontos. Kristoff, welcome to the Panthers. Great to have you joining us. Just talk us through your thought process on why you come to the UK and specifically the Panthers.
Yeah, thanks. I mean, it was kind of a no-brainer when I spoke to the coaching staff and the GM, and we had thought about coming to the UK, my wife and I, for a while, and I'm going to be part of the master's program there. So being able to do some schooling as well as being part of the Panthers organization, is great.
Those early conversations with Danny Stewart and Omar Pasha, are they clearly what set the tone for you to choose this over what I assume you had other offers from elsewhere?
Yeah, I mean, it's always kind of a bit of a negotiation, see what kind of options you have, and then if it seems advantageous for both parties, you kind of proceed with further negotiation. So they've been great, and explaining what they have for expectations and where they see me in the organization. So, like I said, it was a bit of a no-brainer.
Does seem from talking to players and talking to Omar and Danny, their expectations are high. You wouldn't expect anything different. Obviously, we've got Danny coaching the team, although he's been in the Elite League for a long time, first year in Nottingham. Does it feel like your expectations match what they want to achieve?
I mean, I think so. I'm new to the league, so I don't really have anything to compare it to in terms of other teams and success. I know there's a rivalry between Nottingham and Sheffield, and they said that they want to try and strive towards improving, the season from last year. And my goal is to just come in and do my best, and obviously be the best player I can be on and off the ice.
You've played with a host of former Panthers. I've been looking through through your career, but one that stands out and one I think you know well and got on well was a favourite in here in Nottingham in Jeff Brown. What did Jeff Brown have to say about the Panthers?
I mean, he was great when I played with him in France, and he said nothing but amazing things. And he said you'd be stupid not to sign there. So when I spoke to him a few days ago, he was really positive. He said great things about the organization, the people, the supporters, everything there. So, like I said, it's a no-brainer.
You've got an interesting career because obviously the very early part you played in the junior and the college leagues and a bit of time in the East Coast, but then quite early, relatively, I guess, in your career, you chose the European path, and we'll touch on the different styles. But what was it that made you want to go on that path?
I don't know if it was any big decision or anything that happened. I came out of school, and I had more interests in Europe than I did in the East Coast League or the American League at the time. And my father played in North America and in Europe for a long time throughout his career, and he had nothing but amazing things to say about playing in Europe, the lifestyle, the way to travel, the miles it takes off your body in terms of the bit of the grind with the difference in many games in the schedule. So I tried it for a few years, and I fell in love with it, and my wife and I have been happy here ever since.
You've had success in France and Sweden and Slovakia. Do you feel though you've had to adapt your game? Because I'm sure each league is slightly different. Have you had to adapt as a player each time you've gone to a new league?
Yeah, yeah, of course. I mean, every country has their own way of playing the game. I think of France, and it was my first year. It was my first year in Europe, so I had to change to the Olympic size and some of the speed. And then going to Sweden, the Swedes are so skilled and they skate so well. And Slovakia was a lot more, heavy on the puck, and those you see the kind of guys that they have coming out of their program right now. And going back to Sweden now, to the UK, I have that opportunity to try and get used to another system or another style of play. So I'm looking forward to it a lot.
I found an interview, I think, from quite early on in your career with the Sudbury Wolves, where you talked about how passing was so key to a player, and that was something that you thought was so important. That probably interview, I guess, probably over 10 years old now. Do you
Mhm.
still live by those thoughts?
I think just general skill in terms of being able to, it depends on the kind of player you are, it depends on the system you're running. But if you want to be a highly offensive team and a juggernaut, you have to be able to, make plays throughout the lineup, and being able to have skilled guys making plays, and passes on the tape, and high IQ decisions, whether it's power play or 5-on-5, is a huge part of the game and how it's progressed in the last few years. I still think obviously all the physicality and the speed, and those are all crucial things. But I think if you can't pass the puck as a team, you can't be fast, you can't be offensive. So that's always been kind of my thought process, but everybody, has their own opinions, right?
You touched on earlier talking about Jeff Brown and saying you'd be crazy not to come to Nottingham. How much are you excited and looking forward to coming? A very, like, I think the European fans are very passionate across
Mhm.
Europe, particularly in the UK and the Nottingham Panthers. How much you're looking forward to playing in front of a very passionate fan base?
Oh, I'm so excited. I've seen, videos from the arena and from the way the supporters or the fans, they get excited, and how, all the buzz around the team already this year has been, you know, incredible. So, from what I've seen so far, everything looks great. It's like you said, I've been around in a couple different leagues, so I've experienced different styles of, play and fans and everything. So I'm excited to, start this new chapter for sure.
We're excited to be having you. Appreciate you joining us,
Yeah.
and we'll speak to you again real soon.
Awesome. Thank you so much for having me.